Wow. This episode of Tengoku is just a... It destroyed my mind. Like, it just straight up, my mind caved in on itself. Because what happened in this episode is just, like, messed up. Like, it's really messed up. Like, that is honestly the best way to describe what happened in this episode of Tengoku Episode 3. So, let's get right into it. So, last week, when I made a review on this series, and I talked about how, like, we found out that our main female character was actually a dude, I discussed the possibility that, thanks to kind of finding out that brief hint in episode 2, that the brother and sister, like, the brother died and all that, and upon the death of the brother, apparently, like, the sister might have went into the brother's body, and then the brother went into his sister's body, something like that. Well, turns out that is indeed true. That's exactly what happened within this episode, and it is just straight up messed up. Because when you put in perspective of what's going on within this episode, and kind of what it implies, etc., there's a lot of things in this that's just really dark. Like, okay, let's talk about that. So, for one, I want to talk about the sheer fact that, the first thing our main male character, now we know is the main male character, like the brother, did in his sister's body is do a very questionable scene. I'm not going to dive too deep into it because I don't want my channel to be, removed or so because of YouTube. But the point is that you saw the scene. And the fact that was the first instinct that the brother did, I'm just like, yo, this takes, it to a whole new level. Like, we see this a lot in, like, anime and manga, like Step Bro, all that type of stuff, and Stepsister, but it's just like, when you see this, it's just like, bro. Like, bro, what? But, okay, pushing aside that, I do want to take a few moments to talk about the possibility that actually it really is still the sister. So let's explain. So basically, from everything that we learned from the episode, obviously, we do know that there is supernatural in this world. Hell, the monsters, etc. Yeah, we know this. But there is still a layer of possibility that upon seeing her brother's death, and obviously we could see some form of injury happen to the head, for instance, like she had to have like her hair completely shaved off and then she had surgery, we can assume something happened to her. We don't know exactly the details. We could assume maybe the doctor shot her or whatever. We don't really know. The point is that there is a possibility that she just created a completely new personality and is just thinking she's her brother. That is definitely a possibility. That you can't deny that. There is, at least at this point in time, no evidence to say that could not happen. However, we can also not say that it isn't the brother as well. So, there's two ways to actually view the whole subject matter of this episode, but it does not change the fact, though, that just the way the episode goes, the direction of it, it's pretty dark. Like, I didn't expect the brother to die like he did in, this episode. Like, he tries to square up to this monster and all that, and upon him squaring up, he literally starts getting devoured by this creature, and it's brutal. It's a very brutal scene. I did not expect it, which I should have, especially with just how episode 1 and 2 was, but it still caught me by surprise. And I do want to take a few moments, once again, to talk about just, as you can see here on screen, the background art. The background art for Heavenly Delusion, or Tengoku, I keep saying it, but it needs to be said. It looks fantastic. Like, it really is some beautiful artwork. It happens constantly throughout the episode when you see different scenes, the background to the music, etc. Even these scenes that are very plain in nature like this, there's a lot of animation techniques and stuff that is used to really add a new flair and immersion to the episode. And I think that, the people that are animating this really are doing a great job, the best job they can. It's just straight up passion. That's exactly what describes Tengoku so far, which I want to talk about also the body. So, obviously, now that we know what happened, to the sister's body and all that, we can kind of assume that's why there's so many scars. To the arms, to the back, etc. What exactly happened is a good question, because, once again, she kind of blacked out. Like, when all this was going down, she kind of blacked out. We didn't really see the continuation. We could only assume that maybe the monster got a hold of her in some degree or something else happened. Obviously, the doctor isn't someone that is innocent in this entire scene, because he definitely just straight up left after he did surgery or whatever for her and then the brother and all that. We could assume maybe he might have transferred the brain or something into the sister's body. Who really knows? It does not change the fact there is a lot of shady stuff going on, but we don't really know the full extent of what happened here, so that is a mystery left to be solved later on down the road. Now, one thing I do want to talk about in particular is this final scene with, like, this fish creature that appears. This fish creature appears, and I want to point out that these ending credit scenes that we get here kind of showcases what's going on there. So, FYI, like the previous episode, this kid right here, he was drawing. We saw him draw stuff, and he had like a fish with multiple hands on it. And obviously, at the end of this episode, we see a fish with multiple hands. So, there's two ways to really view this. Either this segment of the story is taking place in the future, and they're just like somehow they're accessing potential past records and stuff and, drawing them out. That's what the kid is doing. Or this kid somehow has the ability to bring things into existence through what he draws. Like, if he draws, like, a triangle that has legs, a triangle that has legs will get up and start moving. That is what I think is potentially going on. That this kid, in general, is capable of creating things out of nothing. That could be his ability, because we do know that supernatural abilities definitely exist within this world. Now, another thing I do want to talk about, too, is just the overall presentation of this episode and how it's basically a backstory for a character that we knew was dead, technically, but now we know is technically alive in the sister. It's a very brilliant way to do a backstory, kind of showcasing the overall motivations and goals that, the brother wanted to be someone very strong, powerful, someone that could take down these man-eaters and all that, but obviously we saw the ending conclusion when reality finally set in. So when you take a hard look at just, like, what this episode has to offer, I think it does a really good job with, just giving us the backstory to these characters. I feel bad for the sister as well, because if legitimately she is dead, it just feels like such a loss. I mean, who's to say she's not still alive? I mean, hell, we don't know technically where the brother's body went. For all we know, the sister might be in the brother's body, somewhere off in the world, still alive with the doctor. Who knows? I mean, we technically had hints with the second episode that some of these man-eaters might have personalities, so for all we know, maybe we'll come across maybe one of these man-eaters that actually is his sister as well. Who knows? But overall, Tengoku has been straight up fantastic. We're 3 episodes deep at this point, and since we're so far into it, I think now we can have a good, perception if we want to continue this story or not. The 3-episode rule. I feel like a lot of people still kind of follow the 3-episode rule in this day and age, and I feel like after what I have seen so far from the story, with the character development, the world building, and the mystery and all that, it's definitely something I want to continue on, watching. I have really been tempted to read the manga, because it's like, I've been kind of on a manga binge spree recently. Like, I caught it with Oshinoko recently, as you saw my video yesterday, and I've been really kind of heavily debating starting Heavenly Delusion and catching up with its manga, because I have absolutely enjoyed this anime a lot. But, yeah, overall, tell me your thoughts. How do you guys feel about, the first 3 episodes of, Tengoku? Do you think this is good? How do you feel about, what has happened technically within the story so far and how dark and messed up it is? Do you, think that, it's a split personality or actually a soul transfer? Do let me know in the comments below. I'm legitimately curious on what you all think, but I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. And with that, Chibi out.